Good evening, everyone. Today we will be presenting our topic on bonds. Sit back and enjoy.
Here are our group members.
What is a bond?
It is a fixed income investment in which an investor loans money to an entity. Funds are borrowed for a defined period of time at a variable or fixed interest rate. They are mainly used to raise money.
The terms of a bond contractually states the interest rate that will be paid and the time at which the loaned funds, which is the bond principal, must be returned on maturity date.
The issuance price of a bond is typically set at par, usually $100 or $1,000 face value per individual bond.
The actual market price depends on some factors including the credit quality of issuer, the length of time until expiration, and also the coupon rate compared to the general interest rate.
In our presentation, we will present on these four different types of bonds. Firstly, we have treasury bonds issued by the government. Next we have corporate bonds, followed by convertible bonds, and lastly foreign bonds.
Here are some characteristics of a treasury bond.
Here are four types of debt: treasury bills, treasury bonds, treasury notes and treasury inflation-protected securities, also commonly known as TIPS. The characteristics of treasury bonds include the following. Now let's have a closer look at corporate bonds. Types of corporate bonds include secured bonds, unsecured bonds and zero-coupon bonds. Let's find out more about secured bonds.
Secured bonds are backed by specific collateral. They have lower risk than unsecured bonds. Some examples include senior and junior mortgaged bonds and trust certificates. Can anyone tell me what an unsecured bond is?
It is easy. It is the opposite of secured bonds. It is backed by a company's commitment to pay. Some examples include commercial paper, debentures and income bonds.
What are zero-coupon bonds?
Zero-coupon bonds are sold at a discount and have no interest payments. They are attractive in tax-deferred retirement accounts. They are the most volatile of fixed income securities because of the lack of interest payments. Now we will have a look at convertible bonds.
Here are some of the characteristics of a convertible bond.
Here are some more additional characteristics of a convertible bond.
Lastly, we have foreign bonds. Here are some characteristics of a foreign bond. Here are some examples of foreign bonds. We have Yankee bonds, Bulldog bonds, Matilda bonds and Samurai bonds.
As an investor, here are some of the benefits.
Some risks involved include interest rate risk, currency risk, and even political risk.
Let's look at two examples of how bonds were used during the global financial crisis.
A successful company was Rio Tinto. Rio Tinto is one of the world's largest metals and mining corporations. They have a global presence across 6 continents with over 47,000 staff worldwide. They took a US $40 billion loan and purchased Alcan, a Canadian aluminium company, for $38.1 billion. With the price of non-ferrous metals dropping, Rio Tinto was facing huge financial distress.
Debt had accumulated up and was roughly over $38.7 billion. Oh my God. We need help desperately. What can we do? Luckily, a solution was formed. Rio Tinto registered with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to issue medium and long-term bonds. These bonds were in 2 parts. Firstly, a 5-year bond and a second 10-year bond were issued.
Through the issue of corporate bonds, Rio Tinto had the chance to wait until the merger with BHP Billiton to help it get over the global financial crisis.
Our second example of the failure of investing in bonds was the American Insurance Group, AIG.
Collateralized debt obligation was introduced. CDOs lump various types of debt into one bundle. Various types of debt were also known as tranches, and they were filled with subprime loans.
AIG thought to themselves, why not insure CDOs against default through a financial product known as a credit default swap, as the chance of a payout was highly unlikely. As years progressed, revenue rose significantly and money was rolling in.
One large chunk of the insured CDOs came in the form of bundled mortgages. AIG believed that what it insured would never have to be covered. As foreclosures rose, AIG had to pay out what it insured to cover. This took a huge hit to AIG's revenue. Accounting problems within the division also caused losses. This, in turn, lowered AIG's credit rating, which caused the firm to post collateral for its bondholders, causing, even more, worries about the company's financial situation. Could the unthinkable happen? AIG was in severe danger of insolvency. To prevent that, the federal government stepped in to intervene and lend a helping hand.
Here are the steps taken. Firstly, the Fed issued a loan to AIG in exchange for 79.9% of the company's equity.
Secondly, the total amount was originally listed at $85 billion and was to be repaid over 2 years at the LIBOR rate plus 8.5 percentage points. However, since then, terms of the initial deal have been reworked.
To date, the Fed and the Treasury Department have loaned even more money to AIG, bringing the total up to an estimated $150 billion.
We hope you guys have enjoyed this presentation. Thank you for your attention.